Hello, everyone. This is the Catholic Esquire. Today, I'm going to make a plea to Cardinal Burke. Just to give you a little bit of background, Anthony Stein had a video and reported on a recent sermon Cardinal Burke did on the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. I'm going to link to Anthony Stein's video so you can see the full sermon itself. He does play it for you. He offers his own commentary, but I'm going to put a link to that to the description of this video. The relevant portion of what I'm going to be discussing today starts at about the 19-minute mark of the Stein video. What my purpose for today is to make a plea to Cardinal Burke. Cardinal Burke, I'm asking you to do something about the crisis in the church that you identified in that sermon. You see, Your Eminence, you said something very interesting and quite frankly was very disturbing in that video, in that sermon. You raised concerns about people like me, traditionalists, who simply want to seek to preserve the faith that's been handed down to us for 2,000 years, including the traditional Latin Mass. You said, don't go into schism despite all of the troubles, problems, and crisis in the church. Stick with the church. Stick with our Lord Jesus Christ. Pray to the Blessed Mother, Our Lady of Guadalupe, that we may receive the graces to defend our Lord Jesus Christ, to defend the church, and to defend the truth. You said that in the sermon. And yet you also said in the sermon, this is the case. We must not go into schism, even if the highest officials of the church in the Vatican, you didn't say who specifically, but even if the highest officials in the church have apostatized from the faith, meaning they don't have the faith, they've given up the faith, even if they're apostates, don't go into schism. And I'm sorry, Cardinal Burke, maybe I misunderstood what you were saying there, which is very possible. And please correct me if I'm missing something here. But it seemed to me that you were saying or had concerns that people like me, traditionalists, those who support traditionalist movements, are in danger of going into schism by not remaining in communion with people who are apostates. I'm pretty sure that's what you were saying there. And I had a lot of concerns about that, Cardinal Burke, because I'm very afraid you're not getting the picture or a complete understanding of what the crisis in the church is all about. And quite frankly, I've had some concerns about it before. You clearly did not understand the issue with the SSPX. You've been telling people the SSPX are in schism when clearly everyone understands they're not. Even people over at Catholic Answers understand the SSPX are not in schism, and then it's perfectly fine to go to their masses. And yet you're going around telling many people would consider conservative priests and other bishops that they're schismatic, which is clearly erroneous. Now, I don't know how you blew that. You're supposed to be one of the top canon lawyers in the Vatican. You held high-ranking positions. You're very influential. You're a cardinal prince of the church. How can we get that wrong? Well, how can you get this wrong that the people going into schism with the true Catholic Church are not people who want to believe the faith of the Catholic Church? The people who are going to schism are the people who don't believe the faith of the Catholic Church, like the apostates you were just referring to. And so what the real problem here is not people like me, not people who go to the traditional at Mass, the priests, the traditional priests, or anything like that. The problem here is that we have a hierarchy of people who control the purse strings, who control the buildings, who hold themselves out to be representing the Catholic faith, who don't believe the Catholic faith. That's the crisis in the church, Cardinal Burke. That's the problem. And it is a nasty, nasty problem. Because it does appear that these people have some connection to apostolic succession, right? So in a normal world, they would have authority in the Catholic Church. The problem is there's now a divorce between people that would otherwise have authority because of their apostolic succession and their belief in the faith. There's a disconnect there. Now, I believe that that was institutionalized at the Second Vatican Council. I have not heard you criticize the Second Vatican Council. I think you need to start doing that. But I really also need you to start doing something about this crisis in the church, because you are in position to do something, not me, not the guy I sit next to at Mass every week, not even my priests. You, as a cardinal of the church with a solid reputation for being very knowledgeable about things, for having connections in the church, for being well respected clearly by many in the church, you are in position to do something. You said in that sermon, pray to the Blessed Mother that we may receive graces to defend the truth. I agree with that. But now I'm asking you, as a person in position to do something about it. If we have apostates that have hijacked the true Catholic Church right now, something needs to be done. Who's going to do it? Now, I know some people listening to this are going to say, well, what is Cardinal Burke supposed to do? What is Cardinal Burke supposed to do? Just throw up our hands. I'm not going to tell you, Your Eminence, how to do your job. But may I just offer a suggestion? Pick up the phone. Call bishops, call your friends, call the people you know who agree with you. And there are many out there. Call them and say, we need to organize. We need to get together. We need to organize. We need to be on the same page. And we need to go in there and start instituting councils, meetings, conventions, whatever it takes, to start calling out the errors, the heresies, and the absolute destruction that's occurring right now. We just saw what happened to Synod to Synodality. That's the deconstruction of the hierarchy of the church. You need to take the initiative, go in there, start issuing documents, get spread to Catholics throughout the world, saying, hey, we have a real problem. We are working on this. We are dealing with this. You need to take whatever action is necessary, gather support, talk to the people who are in control of the Vatican itself about what you're attempting to do here. You need to make proper declarations about the heresies. You need to address whether that chair of Peter is empty right now, for a number of possible reasons you can hang your hat on for that. And you need to do something. Now, you see a lot of people that I listen to in Catholic social media, they say, well, we can't do anything. We just have to sit and pray and wait for a future council or future pope to come in and deal with this problem. You see, here's the problem with that idea. In order for that to happen, you have to have someone presumably with authority or a good solid reputation in the Vatican, in the hierarchy, to start the process, to start making the issue known. You see, nothing ever gets addressed in the church, and this has been the case throughout history, unless there's a dispute in the first place. Someone has to raise concerns. So what we have here is Cardinal Burke, you're telling us, you're concerned with us about being schismatic and heretics, I guess. And yet, at the same time, you're calling the people that I'm supposed to be in communion with apostates. Do you see why that makes no sense? And so essentially what you're doing is saying, I'm not going to actually do anything. We'll just figure it out. Let somebody else figure it out later on. No, Cardinal Burke, you are in a position to do something. You were saved from an illness to do something about this. I firmly believe that. I prayed when you were sick in 2022 for your healing and recovery. And you did recover. And I believe you recovered for this very purpose. You can do something. You can do something for Jesus Christ. You can do something for the church. You can do something for the truth. And I promise you, if you do, you'll have not just my support, but the support of millions. Because we can see with our own eyes that 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 5, and that there is a major crisis in this church. Not an easy one to figure out. I'm not denying that. But there's a problem, and we are in desperate need of some manly fatherly guidance and leadership to start the process fixing it, because that's what men do. We fix problems. My friends, thank you for listening to this. If it's useful or helpful, please share it. And if possible, share it with Cardinal Burke, because I don't have any special connection to Cardinal Burke. Wish I did, but if you can send him this video, that would be nice. Because I'm truly offering this video and these suggestions in good faith and out of charity, because I desperately care about the church, and I know you do too. So continue to pray for the church, pray for the Cardinal Burke, and pray for the restoration of the traditional Latin Mass in every parish throughout the country, and the end to this modernist cancer that has affected the church and that needs to be extracted. Thank you for listening, and God bless.